No shit. The microphone's dead again. Come on.
We could try to project.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go with this because we obviously clearly have technical difficulties. So all of y'all who are unaware, clearly. Welcome everybody. I'm your host Pedro Rivera. Give a round of applause for the beautiful and incomparable Amanda Cassatt, please. The microphone some more. Mic check. Looks like we're back, and it looks like no echo. You guys did a great job. Perfect timing. Okay, so yes. Now, Amanda, how you been? I haven't seen you in quite some time. Please tell the people a little bit more about yourself, and some little bit about your background and how you got here.
Hi, so nice to meet you. Thank you, Pedro, for inviting me. Fun to be back at Crypto Mondays. My name is Amanda Cassatt, aka Amanda.eth on Twitter. And I moved to Puerto Rico at the end of 2018, so been here quite a few years. Was part of the early Ethereum team, started working on the Ethereum project in 2015. Ended up as the first chief marketing officer at ConsenSys, where we built the team that brought Ethereum to market, along with ConsenSys, MetaMask, Infura, Truffle, Gitcoin, and also 1,000 things that didn't work, but we learned a lot from those too. We built a lot of the best practices around how Web3 projects go to market, around decentralized marketing, community building, bringing tokens to market. After that, after about 4 years in that role, I left and started a company called Serotonin, which is the leading Web3 native marketing and product studio. We have about 100 employees worldwide now. We do marketing, PR, recruiting, advisory, and we also build products. So we've invested our profits in incubating one software product per year, raising capital into it and spinning it out. The first one of those was Mojito, which is the leading NFT e-commerce platform that lets brands like Sotheby's, CAA, Mercedes, Pernod Ricard, and more sell NFTs on their own websites. And then the second is called Franklin, which is bringing the back office into Web3, so letting teams pay their companies in cash or crypto or whatever they want. And this year we built our third product, which is the Serotonin platform, which is a membership community with a network and resources that's basically open sourcing all of the data that we have at Serotonin and helping our network of people connect with each other. Because we've really observed that like here at Crypto Mondays, part of what helps Web3 thrive is people actually meeting up with each other, building trust, hanging out in person.
Give her a round of applause for us. So, I'm sitting here listening to you, I'm like, damn, I'm not doing enough with my life, man. This fucking girl's kicking ass. You are kicking ass and taking names, and you spit out a lot of things there that I wanted to touch on. Unfortunately, we only have one microphone, but it's really good because people, Luke's not here this week, but he's constantly telling me I'm cutting people off, so this way I can't. But I want to talk about a couple of things you said there that I think were really relevant. Number one is, I want to start with, which the irony is you've been extremely successful in a lot of big name projects, but something that you said that was big that I think a lot of people miss, you launched a bunch of shit that didn't work as well, right? And you did a bunch of things that didn't work, but things that you did work, oh my God, you did great at, right? So I want to talk about, Serotonin has obviously a couple of different layers to it and what you're doing with the building out process, but more along the lines with like the market itself and where we are in Web3 is Web3 marketing goals, and how is it that you see like tokens like, what do you see like as relevant from today that's different to maybe like when you did like Ethereum or MetaMask or any of those other projects?
Yeah, well, to use your language, most shit doesn't work, right? And so most projects that try to capture value in this ecosystem and others, it doesn't work, right? And so there's a process for figuring out product market fit and building something that's valuable. And we tend to encourage projects to talk to the people around them that are the potential users for that project, validate their idea with those people, refine the idea, refine the pitch, and then move outward in concentric circles. If you can convince your proverbial brother and your aunt and your uncle that something is a good project, they're going to need to get excited about it. They're going to need to be convinced. The people close to you are going to need to be convinced in your target audience group before you try to reach the mainstream, or before you try to reach someone in another country through paid marketing tactics that otherwise would never hear about your company. So we really encourage this concentric circles model of finding product market fit and gradually validating these projects. By the time I encountered Ethereum, there was already this nucleus of super smart people, mostly engineers, computer scientists, that had formed around it that were really excited about it. And it had this core kernel of a community that was really spinning. And when I intersected with that for the first time, when I kind of accidentally stumbled into one of the first Ethereum meetups, I just noticed that these were the smartest people I'd ever met. And that if they were so excited, maybe I should learn about this and get excited about it myself. And so that's the model that we encourage with all of our projects. Everyone wants to go mainstream immediately, but you gotta find product market fit first.
Mic check.
Because
this one work? No? Hell no?
I think this one still works. It's just going on and off a little bit.
But so like the Web3 stuff,
It's just a wrapper for value. It doesn't create value out of thin air. And wrapping the way that you figured out how to create value in Web3-ness, whether it's a token, whether it's an NFT, it doesn't necessarily make it more valuable. It just puts a descriptor around it that brings it into exchange with the other types of value that are on chain. It doesn't create value out of thin air. And that sometimes seems like it's happening in the bull market, but that's usually the projects that get ironed out in the bear market. And so we tend to think about, okay, how is this project capturing real value that actually exists somewhere? How is this capturing real demand and bringing it into Web3 as opposed to using Web3 to try to make something out of nothing? Does that kind of answer your question?
Hell no. But it was a lot of good shit. It really was. And I do understand what you're saying in terms of how is it. I'm really frustrated by these microphones, so I think it's better if we just speak. I hope you guys can hear me, God willing. I'm gonna try to speak as loud as possible. And I promise you we're gonna fix the microphones by next week. I'll make sure wherever George is at, we get a hold of him, we'll figure it out.
louder, come down.
I come down where?
Down here, closer, or down there? What do you
I
want
mean,
to do?
hopefully, is this loud enough for you?
Yes.
Okay, so yes. Now, what I got from that was essentially is how you essentially capture potentially market fit for the concentric circles models. But it doesn't seem like that would be different than it was maybe in 2015. And what I was thinking about more was what do you see different in maybe in how communities are formed in projects? Because as we know, community is the main focus. For instance, Ethereum was a heavy developer, community initially early on, before other people got excited about potentially, anything else associated with it. But like you said, the first people that you met in the Ethereum network were very, very smart people, right? It was all the really smart people seeing this, and they were like, "This is some good shit here," and that may not be necessarily the case, sometimes with what we have a very, wide range of other products going on now in different industry, different segments of the industry. But no, I do see what you meant by the concentric circles. I want to say, tell me more about Serotonin. What is the process that you go about selecting what projects you would focus on?
Yeah, so the only reason anything we did worked at all was because we chose Ethereum to market. So I think marketing and product go together kind of like muscle and bone. If you just have a skeleton and you don't have any muscle attached to it, it's gonna lie on the floor. But if you're all muscle with no kind of solid anything at the core, then you're just gonna flop around on the ground, right? And so the ideal combination of product and marketing is having a really high quality product that has the potential for product market fit. Something where if only people knew about it, if only people in this target market segment knew about this thing, then it would really pop off. It needs to be that at its product core. And then marketing is a protocol for how you take that kind of skeleton and get it moving and get it on a walk around the block. So that's how we select projects. We're really discerning. We're not guns everywhere. We won't take any project. We really only take projects on that we think increase the value and the strength of the existing Web3 community and accelerate this decentralized web movement. And there are a lot of different pieces there. There are Web3 utilities, there are layer 1s, there are layer 2s, there's infrastructure, there's NFT projects, there are DAOs, there are all kinds of different pieces that add to the picture. When you're building an entirely new financial system on decentralized rails, there are all kinds of different projects.
I hear you so bad too.
That's so sweet of you. Yeah, so there are a bunch of different things that need to be created.
I'm trying to make sure they can still see us on the camera.
There are a lot of kind of unnecessary and sort of copycat kinds of projects that we tend to avoid. Oftentimes in this space, you get, someone creates a technology, it basically works out. Other people create sort of circling copycat versions of it that don't add very much, but that are trying to kind of see if they can also capture some value. We're less interested in that because we don't think it moves the whole project forward. So that's kind of how we exercise our discernment. We work with Arbitrum, we work with Optimism, we work with these wonderful Horizon Labs folks that we got down here. We work with Vega, we work with World of Women, NFT Collection. So we're all over the map, and also folks like Sotheby's, PayPal, Robinhood, some of the big folks that are getting into the space. We're starting to work with Van Eck, really interested in how ETFs and TradFi are bringing more liquidity and energy into our space.
Okay, so that was, like how Serotonin, for those of you who are unaware what I asked her, I was asking how does Serotonin go about selecting the processes that they look to actually incubate and market and, potentially raise capital and actually, push out. So, now, questions. You guys have questions for Amanda? Of course. Let's start with Justin.
Do the projects that you raised will have to have Serotonin?
So we don't raise for projects. We do marketing, PR, branding, strategy, token advisory. So we don't raise for companies, but they don't have to have a token. If they do, that's cool. If they don't, that also works. Usually it's going to be your investors pressuring you to have a token, not your marketing firm.
You're back.
Any thoughts about that? Also, how you go to the aggregation later? How's that Ethereum stuff already stuff? We're not about last week.
I don't have like a specific perspective on that. I think basically like Polygon and Optimism, Arbitrum, DK Sync, Scroll, I think they're building something really valuable on top of Ethereum, helping it be more scalable, faster, making it actually worth it for apps to build on it that are doing lots of microtransactions with use cases like gaming, DeFi, NFTs in some cases. I think they're all doing an interesting job going about it in different ways.
Back.
How did you approach the Tati for Ethereum? I remember watching it and not just go for people where meetings section of our own, right?
Yes.
Well done. I want to.
So when I first joined ConsenSys, there wasn't a marketing person on the team yet. And people's opinion of what marketing was came from Instagram, kind of like a Instagram influencer hawking a vitamin water with hashtag ad next to it. And everyone had an allergic reaction to the idea that there would be that for Ethereum. But the approach that we took was just thinking of, okay, marketing is just matching people that would be interested in something with the thing so that they hear about it. And at the beginning, we were really marketing Ethereum to developers. And because we figured the more developers start building on Ethereum, the more fast our ecosystem will have applications that people want to use. And so we focused on meetup groups. So we organized all the meetup organizers all around the world into a single group. And we made sure they all had the right messaging. We made sure they all had logos, that their groups were organized, that they had beer and pizza or the culturally relevant version of that. We curated a content series that roved through all of the different meetup groups all around the world. So there was always fresh applications, testing out their products, trying to get users. So we had this amazing group of meetup organizers. So
instead of thinking like a centralized marketing team, all the ideas have to be ours, everything has to be top down, we have to do everything ourselves, we found that it was more effective, more efficient to just organize all the people that were stepping up, saying, I'm the Sao Paulo meetup organizer, I'm the Bucharest meetup organizer, and making sure things were standardized across that network. So really empowering networks of other people. And the way to do this kind of community decentralized marketing is you have to observe what your community is doing naturally. You look at the little sparks in there and you try to blow oxygen on those sparks and accentuate whatever people are doing naturally, as opposed to thinking that you have to create everything yourself. So that's the first thing we did. The second thing was, at the time, you actually couldn't do marketing on any of the standard platforms. So Google AdWords, the various Meta business suites, even MailChimp had bans on any kind of bans on any kind of crypto language and paid ads. And so you actually couldn't have a paid ad that said crypto, Bitcoin, ETH, anything like that, blockchain, or get taken down. So a lot of people's marketing skill set had been kind of calcified in Web 2 and had come down to just running one of these big paid marketing budgets on those main platforms, and they'd gotten out of the habit of thinking like growth hackers. And so our team had to return to the roots of growth hacker style marketing, which is just the fundamental protocol of like, okay, we've got a product, it does this, there's an audience, they need this, they care about this, they're interested in this, their awareness is knocking up against these services, they're reading these channels, they're following these platforms, how do we get our message onto those? And so you never saw a standard ad-based marketing campaign, not even because we were so unconventional and cool that we didn't do it, it was because it was literally banned. So we found other things to do. A lot of hacker houses, a lot of in-person events are really popular in our space. Online hackathons, grants programs. Today, a lot of that looks like rewards and points programs, and a lot of it happens digitally. One of the things that we've been seeing happening increasingly is the abstraction of the kind of rewards and points mechanisms. If you look at things like Blast and Blur, like some of this latest generation of projects, they're gamifying how you get rewards and points. They're abstracting the blockchain so more people and less technical people can participate in these kinds of things. They're doing really similar things to what we did, but at scale with the technology masked and gamified.
How about marketing?
Amanda gives extremely great answers that are really informative and really complete. It's just this, I usually have some smart ass shit to say. Part of it is I don't have another microphone, but the other end of it is I really just sit here and listen to them. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Makes sense too. Next question.
I mean, thanks for your experience at cost. It did he explain social media?
Explain
I
what?
can't hear you.
I don't explain social beginner. And the person on the street, what would be the way that you
Try to tell us 6 second elevator pitch.
Marketing firm.
and I was
Crypto marketing firm.
Crypto. So we start with visual.
You want to keep shit stupid simple. There's honestly a science to this. You guys think it's a game. You want to keep shit stupid simple.
Yeah, so we do visual and verbal branding and strategy. And then on top of that, we layer PR, content, social, community, events, paid growth marketing. We also have a separate recruiting services and a separate kind of advisory services. And then we basically invested our profits in building our various products. And the cool thing that's happened, the network effect of all of this and just being around for a while, is that we've built this really great ecosystem of awesome projects and partners. Most of the projects that we work on are actually referred to as IVCs, and we work really closely with a number of the leading VCs partners in the space. Our work brings us really close to the media in the space, and so recently we've pulled together the network of projects and founders, both from Web 2 companies coming into Web 3, with Web 3 native projects, with media, with investors, into a single platform, and that's become kind of our Web 3 community, in addition to kind of the core of what we are, which is a marketing partner.
good call.
You absolutely can, sir.
How does the company make money?
What? People pay for marketing.
The normal way, it's a lemonade stand. It's a lemonade stand, simple business model where there are retainers, sometimes token grants.
And then there's a bunch of that, then you hire more people, and then you do more of that, and then you have extra profits, and you make software companies with it. That's been our choice.
It's like the gold rush, bro. The people that get rich, the picks and shovels, you know, selling coffee and shit. That's how we make the money, dude. How did I? Okay. Alright, next question. Go back.
That's your local shopping.
Puerto Rican projects. You got any flavor with Puerto Rican? Matter of fact, you know, I was thinking about this. Like, Amanda was like, she was like one of my guests in like 2018. She's been here for years. You know, you guys, somebody asked me the other day, like, how long I've been to Crypto Mondays? Like, no, it's been at least 5 years, if not 6. But she was like one of our first guests. She really was. So yeah, PR-based projects. Have you gotten active in any of those with Serotonin?
Yeah, so G Money is based here, and we work pretty closely with 9DCC. We partner with them on a lot of things. There's also Startup Island DAO, so that's more of a me thing than a Serotonin thing. But Startup Island or SpeedDAO is, I think it's about 500K, and it's about 25 members who have each put in, you know, varying amounts, and we vote on local Puerto Rico projects to invest in out of South Pool. Most of the projects here are too early stage to work with Serotonin. I would definitely recommend founders.
That means they don't got enough money, bro. That's how she makes money.
Well, I would recommend founders at that early stage actually learn how to self-serve a lot of their marketing and PR and get to a point where marketing services don't represent a huge portion of burn, or there's a value capture moment on the near horizon to make it make sense to invest significantly in something like that. And so instead of just kind of being willing to work with any project regardless of size, we're really mindful of not wanting to be too much of a project's burn, because we want to make sure that everything we do is bringing measurable ROI to that project. So it's harder to do that earlier on.
I have a good question for you. How is it that a project can understand what is the true value of the marketing firms that they're paying for marketing services? As you know, there's a lot of bullshit marketing firms in crypto, right? A lot of people have made a lot of, you know, the truth is marketing strategies do shit, right? And the success of a marketing strategy, right, cannot be, you know, predetermined sometimes. But how is the best opportunity as a founder or, you know, a team can actually have a better understanding of the value they're capturing from the marketing firm that's charging them? I don't know if you realize this, Lovely, but it's like 40, 50, 100K a month. And so congrats sometimes. So yeah, how do you understand that?
So you should be able to show value using analytics. So we've partnered with a couple of different analytics firms in order to be able to do this. There's some really great analytics startups that span Web 2 and Web 3 metrics. One of them is called Spindle, S-B-I-N-D-L. This guy, Antonio Garcia, that founded that company, was one of the early people on Facebook's ad team, and he's really great at what he does. So with Spindle, the other one is Addressable, just like really fabulous companies that you can use to track off-chain and on-chain metrics against your various marketing strategies. So you can really see with a paid growth budget exactly what kind of ROI that deployment is bringing in for your business. In terms of something like PR, you can tell things like reach. You can tell how many people you're reaching. You can tell whether they're in your target audience. You can tell whether that's increasing your following, your subscriptions, people connecting your wallet. You can see how it correlates to people conducting transactions, but sometimes attribution falls off a little bit in PR. Like, it's really hard to attribute directly, okay, someone read this story from this news outlet and then say they took this action because of it. So with the paid growth marketing tactics, you can get really, really specific and see exactly what it is. With things like PR, you can usually get proxies like reach.
Question.
Hey, Amanda, super fascinating.
She's amazing. I mean, honestly, she made me feel like I need to do more in my life. Like, I'm serious. I'm questioning this thing. I literally known her the entire time she's done all this shit. But, you know, she doesn't even go hang out at night. I do. So, like, I kind of understand why she stays over works. But good.
She could be working some other money.
Like, I'm telling you, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I get on board with some of this shit? When we get to that later, next.
So, a lot of the efforts based on 2018 now. Very different, very different scenario, very different but you can let you are reasonable with me and adapt so you can get out and adapt so you know that it was sort of what said. Do you see a difference in how one would approach the exercise or choice market as to where you are secures government?
But the same narratives don't work because things have actually changed. So the original, so I actually wrote a book about the bringing Ethereum to market. It's called Web3 Marketing. Just that. It came out last year from Wiley. It's a great book. It's one of the first Web3 business books. And basically, like, we invented a lot of the strategy that you see everywhere. So in February 28th, 2017 was the launch of the EEA, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. And almost no one remembers this, but that was actually kind of the spark that lit Ethereum price growth on fire. Because on this one day, we announced that Microsoft, JP Morgan, Santander, Accenture, Intel, all these different household name companies had formed this working group to experiment with building on Ethereum. And suddenly, this project that used to be associated, if you Googled, with a 19-year-old Russian-born Canadian prodigy, which appeals to some people, suddenly all of these trusted names were associated with it, and it absolutely blew up. And you can see, you know, that's the first time that there was coverage all in one day of Ethereum in Reuters, in the Associated Press, in New York Times, Wall Street Journal, because it had brought all these enterprises that all have SEO-able names on board all at once. And so it felt de-risked suddenly. And even though the thing that was being built with the EEA had nothing to do with the public Ethereum or the ETH token, the ETH token just ripped after that. And that week it went from stagnating around like $6, $8 up through 20. And by May of that year, I remember this because it was the first Ethereum, and it was the night before the first Ethereum, which is a conference you're organizing. The price went through $100. And there are almost no developers or founders or investors who got into crypto in 2017 that say, I got in because of the news about the EEA. About 0 people would ever say that. But because of that story, more media got interested in writing about it, more communities found out about it, started creating grants and incentives. There was just more content about it. And so that caused a ripple effect that ended up bringing in a lot of people, even though no one would attribute it to that. And that tactic is now the one used by everyone. So so many different projects now try to get household name companies to endorse or work on their project, and it still works. It de-risks a project to have the social proof of having a big company building on it, and so that strategy totally still works. It doesn't get the same bang as it originally did because of just the surprise factor. And all of these companies building with blockchain, it's not as surprising anymore. And so I feel like as time goes on with each successive bull market, you just have to do something more and bigger to be surprising. And so, like, what was surprising in the last bull cycle? Like, I remember the thing that set off the NFT craze was that $69 million sale of that People NFT at Christie's.
How much is that shit worth though? 20 bucks.
So that's actually not true. So one of the few use cases of NFTs is real enduring product market fit, and you can check this out because it's actually on The Simpsons. And they even confirm in The Simpsons episode making fun of NFTs that the one good thing about it is art. And I think there are other good things about it too. But the art use case, like Sotheby's and Christie's, know what they've been doing because the actual art has value because of who the artists are. Because some of these artists are really great digital artists, and they've held up. And so if you look at like 6529 Capital, Punk 6529, and their like art collection, that's one of the best value preserving collections of NFTs because that fine arts use case is actually pretty solid. But that's what set that off. The surprise, oh my goodness, how is this digital thing worth $69 million? So surprised, right? Like a zebra in the zoo isn't that interesting. A zebra walking down Fifth Avenue is interesting. And so as people get more and more used to these tactics, it requires more and more to get people excited. So you look at something like Blast. Blast, it just came out, and it was able to aggregate a ton of liquidity, of Ethereum liquidity through rewards. And it was one of the most streamlined rewards program plays that we've seen that really gamified it. You saw this with Blur. So Blur launched a vampire attack on other NFT platforms with a rewards system that gave people extra rewards for delisting things from other platforms and listing them on Blur. And so these are really exciting, kind of aggressive tactics that were that zebra walking down Fifth Avenue rather than that zebra in the zoo. And I think it'll always be those kinds of things that gain attention, new things, surprising things with big numbers, big names, rather than the same kind of recycled tactics from last cycle.
But you say is also what not this MCD on that, so do you feel like it's going to be harder to get a big names on board now? It's based on last week's story.
Yeah, it should be, right? Like, and there should be so much native growth in this ecosystem that you shouldn't always need to do that anymore. Like those tactics have been around so long that they aren't just impactful anymore, right? Like, you have to announce that one of those kinds of companies that I just mentioned is moving their entire stack over. It would have to be a bigger announcement in order to generate that same amount of buzz that that original kind of Ethereum enterprise announcement did. And so when I think about something like Arbitrum, which we work with, unlike something like Optimism, which is known for working with Coinbase, Arbitrum is really the L2 of choice for a lot of the DeFi kind of crypto native projects. Do they even need to do that tactic of finding some big enterprises to endorse them? Or is the Web3 native ecosystem big enough that they can just aggregate a bunch of liquidity, of ETH liquidity in their L2 just by being the technology favorite for all the developers that are trying to build gaming apps, that are trying to build DeFi, just within the existing Ethereum community. So I don't think you even need to use those tactics anymore. I think there's going to be a lot of competition to use rewards, to use product in order to aggregate a bunch of liquidity onto your platform. Because one of the biggest problems developers face is building on something that doesn't have liquidity, that's fragmented from other ecosystems. So I think we're going to see a lot of last-like things that uses that gives them rewards and points to try to aggregate a lot of liquidity somewhere quickly.
Yes. So like what are you any thoughts about like the RC 404 C took us
Yeah, I don't have an amazing opinion on this yet. Still in progress.
what motion? Too good.
Do you see anybody taking over ETH? Dumb question, but you know, we have some other than ETH fans running around.
I remember being in charge of like marketing ETH and Ethereum and hearing about all these ETH killers, and because people would take screenshots of things that marketing themselves as ETH killers and send them to me. Was that you? Was that you?
No. No, I was just saying Scott Walker was here last week talking about all the ETH killers that he's invested in.
Well, you know what the funny thing is about the ETH killer? Every time you say it, you say the word ETH. Right, and so I just love that, you know, like they were saying our brand name every time they were trying to say they were going to kill us. So yeah, I don't know. I think probably the biggest threat to this whole thing is AI is creating their own blockchain.
Who the fuck is doing that?
If AI's did it, AI's made their own. Like our AI, so let's say all of finance is mostly going to be conducted by AIs on behalf of people, maybe. And they're the ultimate digital natives, so they're going to conduct all their transactions in a digitally native setting. It makes sense that they would use a blockchain. Maybe they use the Bitcoin blockchain, maybe the Ethereum blockchain. They're going to choose a blockchain to use, or they might choose to build their own.
Okay, I have a lot of questions related to this that you know, probably not suitable for the type of interview that we have right now, but yeah, no, I'm not okay with none of this shit. Who the AI people, and who's telling these people to build and pick blockchains and shit, and they didn't know what they need us for? They just gonna do their own transaction, have their own shit going on.
I think they're going to completely have their own shit going on, and they're going to have AI agents transacting with other AI agents, and they'll even employ other AIs just to do work. Then the AIs will own the money themselves, and they'll spend the money themselves, and they'll have an entire economy of transactions where it's difficult to even locate any people in it.
So is my AI going to be richer than me or poorer than me? Which one is it going to be?
I think they're just going to be AIs and people, and it won't even be obvious which one anyone is because a dollar is a dollar, right?
Wow. Okay. Okay, maybe, I just think, I'll figure it out. Maybe we'll, good thing you can tell me which ones the AIs are the good guys and who's the bad guys. But I'm confused. Like, honestly, I got issues with a lot of that shit. We'll figure it out later on. I don't smoke too much weed for that. But next question.
You got it, Steve.
No questions? Let's get a round of applause for Amanda Cassatt. Goody.
Exactly.
Yo, shit. Honestly, and if you guys didn't know that, you know that. I'm really sorry about the audio, the first half of what we have going on. Amanda, please stick around. Please speak to these people. I'm sure they want to chat with you. Thank you so much. I really mean this. Whenever you want to come back and speak at Crypto Mondays, please do. You're so qualified, and you have a lot of good shit talked about. So anytime you want to come back and yap, let me know. Then same to your husband when he's off back in bed. But yeah, that's what I got for you guys this week. Next week I have
And do that.
I know it is. But I want to post the flyer tomorrow because I don't remember at this moment. But yeah, I have the flyer posted early in the morning next week, and we'll see you guys next week, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. George Keith Farms. And we're going to fix the microphones, I promise. I promise we're going to fix the microphones. I have full faith and confidence. And